Yo, what's up everyone? Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to enable DLS 4.5. Now, it's a big upgrade from DLS 4 if you've tried that in the past. And then also, before I get into the details with it, let me just show you the performance benefits that you will see using the 4.5. So right now I'm on native. This is what most hunt players use. I'm getting about, in the top right corner, 115 frames. I'm going to switch it to DLS 4.5. And that brought us to around 220. That's about 100 more frames just from running from native to DLS. Huge boost, especially if you're really needing the frames. Alright guys, and I just wanted to show you a side-by-side. Native is on the left and DLS 4.5 is on the right. And just to show you guys like the difference, again, like your edges are going to be a little cleaner looking. And then if we look at, let's see, like down here, you know, like on native, you can't even make out the handle almost, right? And you could just see the marathon looking very jagged as far as the edges and how smooth it is on the DLS. So even if you look at Post Malone's arm, you could just see how the edges look compared to the DLS. I recommend running DLS on balance mode unless you need extra frames. The improvements that they made from DLS 4 is they got rid of the ghosting, and then also they just upgraded the clarity. If you're an HDR user, they optimized the performance on HDR, and then the lighting's a little bit different. So if we look right here, actually let me bring it up. So go to the Nvidia app, make sure you have the latest driver installed because that's the 4.5 DLS update. And then I don't know if it's still beta, but if so, I'll show you how to enable beta access. So just right here in the description, they're talking about how, you know, it's using AI for a deeper understanding, intelligently using the game's engine for pixel sampling, motion data, which delivers images at better lighting. So that's the lighting I'm talking about. It is improved. Finer edges, a little bit less blurry than DLS 4, and then motion clarity. So those are the improvements they made. So again, if you don't see this, just go to settings, to about, and opt in to your beta. That way when you go to your graphics and choose the game that you want to apply it for, so in this case Hunt Showdown, we're going to scroll down to driver settings. Here's all your DLS overrides. So it's going to be the first one for your model presets. Under custom, super resolutions right here. And you have a whole bunch of presets to play around with. I like M the best. It seems like that one's working the best so far. Just apply that, restart your Nvidia app and let it apply the update, and you're all set. You'll be on DLS 4.5. All right. Now, quick things that I just want to go over why I like DLS over native for anyone who's still using native. So as you know, native with the anti-aliasing, how it does edges, like if we look at this bridge, it kind of constantly like strobes at you, flickers, and to me it's a little distracting. So the grass, you know, even that red barn in the distance, it's just a little distracting. If you look at the train tracks right here, see how it has that white strobing horizontally? I'm just not a fan of that, and DLS will get rid of all of that. So let me switch it back to DLS. All right, and as you can see, you have no more flickering. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. What I will say too, if you want a little extra sharpening, don't use the upscaled sharpening. And under the super resolution right here, it says upscaled sharpness. The reason why I wouldn't recommend doing it this way, and I'll show you a different way of doing it, is let's just activate that. I'm on DLS right now and it's almost like native with the strobing. So yeah, stay away from that sharpening. Instead, you're going to want to go to your control panel. Just make sure you have integer scaling on, and then under your 3D settings, if we go to program settings, we're under Hunt Showdown, your first one's going to be image sharpening. So you're basically just doing this from the driver itself, and right here. So you could sharpen it here, just match the film grain to the sharpness, and you're all set. All right, so I guess now we'll just go over my graphic settings that I use, and kind of go over what the graphic settings are actually changing. A lot of even content creators and people get this confused, so I'm just going to explain that And let's get into it. Oh, and before we get in the graphic settings, let me just show you, because I get asked this all the time. Here's a before. This is what I see. This is what everyone that plays this game sees. And this is after. So this is what filter I put on for just YouTube videos. So, you know, I see the same as everyone else. I just want to clear that up. Okay, graphic settings. Most importantly, make sure you turn on VSync just to at least enable your Nvidia reflex. And then you could always turn it off if you want. Okay, motion blur and depth of field. I'm not a big fan of motion blur. Depth of field just pretty much blurs out your hand, as you can see in the picture. So it's just your near sight. All right, video RAM usage. This one, if you're stuttering at all, loading into compounds, just bump this down. 80's default, that one's pretty safe. But if you got the extra RAM, video RAM, you could just run it at 90. All right, and then as far as your graphic settings, this is going to be the biggest one. Object quality, I just run this low. A lot of people run this high and this actually texture quality low. They get them confused. I'm going to show you what object quality is actually doing. So if we come over here, I'll show you guys. Okay, so object quality. If we look at the picture that they show, what it's changing right here. All right, so if we look at the top picture, it almost looks like 2D from a lower quality, and then they show it on a higher quality how it's more defined, more three-dimensional, but it's actually not really it doesn't really have anything to do with like tessellation. So if you look here, it's even stating that it's just level of detail at distances. And this detail, I'm going to show you, like the brick is a good example, like right here. See how it's loading in some of the missing brick, and as I walk away, it's going to start turning more 2D, right? So that's just the distance. Level of quality is just what that's rendering at a distance. So same thing with like these added bits to the brick. Do you see how this kind of sticks out a little bit right there on that corner? Same thing. Like even this archway, see that added like piece right there? As I walk away, that's going to get to a lower quality and even disappear completely. See how it just disappeared right there? So if you want that to render at a further distance, then you could up your object quality, but I don't really recommend it because it is a pretty big hit on your system. You're talking about like 30 frames at least, where it's not that important. And it's still, you're gonna have that issue where it kind of de-renders. It's just an extra 15 meters maybe. So, okay, now the most important one is texture quality, to run this as high as you can. This one actually doesn't take too many frames. You're looking at like 5, maybe a little bit more. So you're gonna really have no effect. And what's nice about running this at a higher quality is it's the texture resolution, right? So like even with effects like fire, your dirt, all your assets, barrels and whatnot, it's going to render that at a higher resolution. So watch. So if you look at the top right corner, I'm 183 frames, 184. I'm gonna run low texture quality. And unless you want it to look more potatoey, because maybe there's less visual detail on your screen and it helps you out, I wouldn't really recommend this. Because again, I was 184. And let's see what my FPS is now. Once when it finishes. Okay, so about 10 frames. Like I said, it's usually 5 to 10. It's not a huge difference, but look at the quality of everything. It's like Minecraft, fire. All the dirt is low res. All the assets is just, everything is blurry. Even the leaves, right? They're 2-dimensional now. You can't even see the stars on the flag. All right, so I bumped it back up and nice. Now we can see all the stars on the flag and everything's a higher detail. Okay, moving on to texture filtering. I would recommend running this at least 4x. You can do 16, but just to show you what it does is all your slopes and even the detail, like for instance in this road, it's the distance and the quality that's rendering at. So if I bump this down. Let's just do to 1. As you can see, it's all a little bit more blurry now. And then even the tracks and the detail in the road stops about right here, about 35-40 meters. So that's what texture filtering does. It really doesn't impact your frames hardly anything, so feel free to run this at a higher setting. Okay, moving on to lighting quality and global illumination. These are big hitters, especially global illumination. If you want to light up rooms a little bit better, it's almost no difference. Run this to medium because that's what's going to allow your light to reflect off of surfaces. Alright, I just want to show you what lighting quality can improve though, if you're very picky about how things look. Sometimes with reflections, you know, the light passing through like leaves and such, you see that little flickering in the water. So all of that, if you just run a higher lighting setting, that will go away. So I still run mine low, but let me just show you bumping this up. You won't have those imperfections. So see how it's all gone. So that is also an advantage that you'll see, improvement to visuals. All right, shadow quality, huge hit on your system. I don't recommend running that too high. At least do medium if you really want some more definition on shadows. Shadow filtering doesn't really take too much performance, so you could bump that up if you want. Effect quality, I never noticed a difference. I'm not really sure about that one. Process, that's like your blooms and stuff. Particle quality, it's gonna be like on your fire pits, like the embers, like clues, stuff like that. I just kind of like less particles on my screen so I could see a little bit better, so I run that one low. Water quality, you're gonna want to run this if you're using DLS, run this at least medium. If you're not using DLS, you don't have to. You could run that low. I want to show you. Let me show you exactly why I run it medium. Alright, so if I run water at low, it's not really a huge performance saver, and this is what it will do to water. See how it's a little gritty in the distance? I'm not sure if you could see that very well, and also by the shore. It just turns it a little bit more like just boxy. So if you want a big improvement on water quality, just at least run it medium. Alright, fog quality is a huge hit on your system, but it is very cool seeing, like on low, you won't render in some of that lower, thicker, like density fogs, which is really cool looking, but it's very taxing on your system, like you're you know, 30 frames. So if you have extra frames, run this higher so you could see some of that cool fog, but I just run it low. View distance ratio, if you want to de-render a little more, you could do low. I prefer medium just because sometimes it doesn't load in assets like railings and stuff at close ranges. And if I'm using like a bow or something, I could be hitting a wall and not even realizing it. So I like running medium, but it doesn't really, it's not really that important to run that higher. For instance, if you kill like a lantern grunt, you can see the lantern even if it's 200 meters out, like fall to the ground and just sit there. So you don't really need to render at a high distance. And then as far as lighting distance, as you can see here, like that fireplace, when I ADS, I can see the light. When I'm in hipfire, I can't. So maybe if you're in hipfire, there might be a small advantage on running rendering light sources at a further range, because you can see maybe a player that you couldn't see normally. So let's just go bump this up. So view distant lights, as you can see now I'm in hipfire and it's rendering all the light in that room. So other than that, those are my settings, and yeah, that's DLS 4.5. So let me know what you guys think. If you appreciated this video, leave a comment down below. All right, peace out.
you.